A frozen hand in the snow.
It's a very creepy hand, I think.
An ancient wolf's face staring through the ice.
The wolf head was beautifully preserved. Even the little bump to its lip was just there as it would be in the live animal.
And now, a towering wall of ice with no end in sight. This shocking footage challenges everything we know. Even Admiral Richard E. Byrd claimed there's land beyond Antarctica. Today we dive deep into the secrets hidden in Earth's coldest corners.
What the heck is that thing?
Some real, some mysterious, and others downright unbelievable. While hiking through West Antarctica, a group of explorers spotted something weird sticking out of the ice. What looked like a doorway. It wasn't just a crack or cave. It was super smooth, like someone had carved it on purpose. A cold breeze came out of it, making the whole thing feel even creepier. The closer they got, the stranger it seemed. It didn't look like anything natural. It felt like a secret entrance to something buried deep below. No one knew what was inside, but one thing was clear. They had found something seriously strange. Iced mammoth. Deep in the frozen ground of Siberia, scientists found something wild. Yuka, a woolly mammoth calf frozen in time. She'd been trapped in ice for over 39,000 years, but her body still looked almost fresh. You could see her soft hair, skin, even her eyelashes. Yuka was only about 6 to 8 years old when she was discovered by scientists.
She's an ancient mummy.
It's an ancient mummy, sure.
Her reddish blonde fur and chunky legs showed how tough these creatures were in the cold. She wasn't just some bones. They basically found a full mammoth kid frozen like she was just taking a nap. Yuka gave scientists an amazing chance to peek back into a world that disappeared ages ago. Iceman Mystery. Back in the 1960s, people started freaking out over a strange frozen discovery called the Minnesota Iceman. It was this creepy figure locked in a block of ice with a hairy body, big hands, and a face that looked part human, part something else. It got shown off at carnivals and little shows, and people didn't know what to think. Some swore it was a prehistoric creature. Others said it was just a hoax made to freak people out. Scientists and curious folks lined up to see it. Real or fake, nobody could look away. And to this day, the Iceman still creeps people out. Race against time. The video shows a remarkable rescue that was carried out by a group of farmers in a small village in Russia. These horses fell into a lake through the ice sheet that got shattered by their weight. Although such accidents don't usually have a happy ending, this one thankfully did. As they responded to the desperate calls of the animals, the farmers frantically tried to pull them out. It certainly was a tough task, but they safely managed to drag them all out. Eternal slumber. She looked like she was sleeping, resting peacefully in the cold, but Sasha was anything but ordinary. This young woolly rhino had been stuck in the ground for over 34,000 years. Her fur was still soft and pale. Her ears kept their shape, and her tiny legs were tucked under her just right. Sasha was about the size of a small pony, and seeing her like this made it easy to picture her once walking across frozen grasslands with her mom. Her body stayed in such amazing shape that experts could study nearly everything, even her skin and soft parts. Sasha wasn't just a fossil, she was a quiet memory of a world long gone. Frozen find. Lyuba was just a month old when her story froze in time, and her discovery in Siberia's icy soil brought that story back. Found in 2007 by a reindeer herder and his sons, she was in unbelievable condition. Her soft fur, tiny trunk, and even her milk-filled tummy were still there, giving us a rare peek into the Ice Age. Experts think she ran into trouble while crossing a muddy river with her herd. But thanks to the frozen ground, her little body stayed protected, helping researchers learn about what she ate, how she lived, and how healthy she was. Ice Age Bison. Deep in Siberia, researchers made an incredible find. Blue Babe, a young bison perfectly frozen in the ice for over 40,000 years. What made him so special wasn't just how long he'd been there, but how well his body held up. His fur, hooves, and even some soft tissue stayed in great shape, letting scientists study him up close. His name, Blue Babe, came from the bluish tint on his fur, which happened because of the way he was preserved. Thanks to this rare find, experts learned more about the animals that once wandered the cold, ancient lands, giving us a small but powerful glimpse into a totally different world. Cubbed in. Buried deep in the icy ground of Siberia, scientists uncovered something wild. A tiny cave lion cub that had been frozen for over 12,000 years. Unlike the huge lions that once roamed Earth, this one was barely the size of a house cat. What blew people away was how perfect it looked. Its fur, little whiskers, and tiny paws still looked super fresh. Experts think the cub got frozen super fast, which helped keep everything almost lifelike. It's rare to find something this complete from so long ago. A small, silent piece of the ancient wild, locked in ice like it never left. Crater Mammoth. In eastern Siberia, researchers made a jaw-dropping discovery. The near-perfect body of a young female mammoth, frozen for over 50,000 years. Found in the giant Batagaika crater, this ancient animal was uncovered as the frozen ground began to melt. The crater itself is more than 80 meters deep and keeps growing due to climate changes. Nicknamed Yana after the nearby Yana River, this little mammoth shocked scientists with how complete she was. Her body was so well preserved that experts called her the best find of its kind. Yana gave researchers a rare, up-close look at what life looked like in the deep freeze of the Ice Age. The adorable discovery. While digging through Siberia's frozen ground, researchers came across something unexpected. A dog that had been frozen solid for an unbelievable 18,000 years. It was so well kept that its features still looked clear, from the fur to the nose. This little pup, named Dogor, also called the Adorable, gave scientists a rare chance to study a very early kind of dog. What made this one so special was how perfectly it was preserved. Experts believe it might have been part of a group that lived closely with humans during the Ice Age. Frozen bison. Imagine finding an animal that's been frozen for over 24,000 years. That's exactly what happened when scientists discovered the Yukagir bison in Siberia's icy ground. This ancient bison looked like it had just walked out of the Ice Age. Its thick fur and strong build showed it was built to handle seriously harsh weather. But the wildest part wasn't just how old it was how well it held up. Researchers could even study what it ate and how it lived in its frozen world. The Yukagir bison helped piece together a time long before people ever showed up. Wolf of Canada.
This is a complete mummified wolf pup. We can see her ears with little tufts of hair.
Back in 2016, while digging in a Yukon goldfield, scientists found something incredible. A wolf pup that had been frozen for 57,000 years. Its fur was still there, and its small paws were perfectly shaped, like it had just curled up for a nap. What shocked researchers most was finding its last meal: salmon. That detail gave a major clue about how ancient wolves lived. This little pup became a time capsule from the Ice Age. Thanks to how well it was preserved, experts learned way more about old wolf species and the chilly world they once called home. Frozen beach shark. During a brutal cold snap caused by the polar vortex, something strange showed up on a beach in Massachusetts. A frozen shark. People were stunned. The freezing weather had preserved the shark almost perfectly. Scientists think the shark might have gotten caught in the cold ocean and couldn't swim away in time. The icy temps dropped super fast, possibly freezing the shark right there in the water. Researchers are still figuring out what type it was, but one thing's for sure. It gave them a rare chance to study sea creatures in extreme cold. A wild, frozen surprise from the deep. Triceratops find. In 2014, something wild was found on a ranch in Perkins County, South Dakota. An archaeologist was checking out remains tangled in tree roots on a hillside when he spotted the horns of a Triceratops. Right away, he knew it was a big deal and named it Big John after the ranch owner. As the head of Paleo Adventures, a group that digs up fossils, he understood this wasn't your average discovery. Fast forward to 2020, Big John was bought by an Italian company and later got prepped for auction. Right now, it's being looked after by Italian officials, but no one knows what's next. The buzz around Big John still keeps dino fans curious. Frozen foal. In 2018, scientists digging around the massive Batagaika crater in Siberia found something surprising. A tiny Ice Age horse frozen in time. It still had soft brown fur, like it had just stepped out of a cold barn. Turns out, this foal was over 42,000 years old. It was only a few weeks old when it got trapped in mud that later froze solid. The craziest part? Everything was still in place. Even its insides. This little Lena horse gave researchers a real chance to learn about a time way before history books. For many of them, it felt like a frozen message sent straight from the past. Unseen phenomenon. Not your everyday river. I am talking about a once-in-a-blue-moon kind of thing. Back in 2015, Iraq was hit by a wild weather spell. Rain, hail, the whole shebang. It caused a river of frozen water to stream through the desert. Sounds amazing, right? But it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. This stunning river caused some people big concerns. The phenomenon is still unexplained and hasn't happened ever since then. Though it has been a little over a decade now. Ice cat. One chilly morning, a group of explorers spotted something strange under a clear sheet of ice. It was a small cat, curled up as if trying to stay warm, its fur lightly dusted with snow and whiskers frozen stiff. The group couldn't ignore it. They carefully poured warm water around it, letting the ice melt little by little. Then, with gentle hands, they picked up the cat and brought it to the local authorities. The team treated it with total care and made sure it stayed protected. Even though the cat didn't move, its presence was unforgettable, like it had been quietly waiting to be noticed. Locked antlers. Way out in the quiet parts of Alaska, Brad Webster saw something that almost didn't feel real. Under a frozen stream, two huge moose lay side by side, their antlers tightly tangled like they were still in the middle of a fight. Experts think it happened during mating season. They got locked in, couldn't pull apart, and the cold eventually stopped them in their tracks. It wasn't just a wild sight. It felt emotional. Brad and a friend carefully brought the remains back and placed them at a nearby camp. Now, the moose stand together, frozen in time, caught in a moment they never meant to share forever. Yeti Mystery.
My father acquired the Bigfoot September 23, 1953.
In a wild twist to the whole Bigfoot and Yeti legend, people say a frozen version of the creature was found, preserved for over 65 years. The story goes that this young Bigfoot was discovered back in 1953 and kept hidden for decades. What really stood out? Its massive feet, which showed it was probably still growing. For years it stayed out of sight, until footage of the frozen creature started popping up online. Some folks think it's proof. Others think it's fake. Real or not, the frozen body has gotten people talking again. Whether it's a creature from the woods or just a clever trick, the mystery's definitely not over. Swamp freeze. A nature explorer was walking past a swamp in North Carolina when something in the icy water caught his eye. An alligator, frozen in place with just its nose sticking out. At first glance, it looked like the cold had gotten the best of it. But nope, that gator was just doing what reptiles do best, surviving. Experts say it's called brumation, a slowdown trick alligators use in the winter. They hang out in the cold with their snouts above the ice so they can still breathe.
Very interesting to see them poke their noses up and be able to breathe and be perfectly fine. So they're doing this as a mechanism.
Their bodies stay still and frozen-like, but once things warm up, they snap back to life. Orcas Trapped. It was just another quiet winter day in the tiny village of Inukjuak, Quebec, until someone noticed something strange in the icy water. A group of orcas, nearly a dozen, were gasping for air through a single small hole in the ice. The sea had frozen fast, trapping them in place. The villagers knew time was running out. They grabbed whatever tools they had, chainsaws, drills, and raced to help. People stood side by side, facing the brutal cold for these whales. But before they could finish the rescue, nature made the next move. The ice shifted and cracked, and by morning, the whales were gone. No one saw them leave. Unusual phenomenon. Two guys were out ice fishing on a lake in Indiana when they spotted something super weird under the frozen surface. Right below their boots, a big fish had clamped its jaws onto a smaller one, and both were totally frozen in place. It looked like the bigger fish had gone in for a snack. But the cold hit so fast that everything just froze mid-action. They snapped a few pics, but when people online didn't believe it, they went back and filmed the scene. Turns out, this can really happen when the weather flips fast and water freezes hard. It was like nature hit pause right in the middle of a wild moment. Ice-covered deer. While driving down a snowy road in Kazakhstan, two men saw something odd near the edge of the forest. A roe deer stood still, its head drooping low. As they got closer, they noticed its whole face was coated in thick snow and ice. The deer could barely move or see. Acting fast, the men got out and gently cleared the ice off its face. Bit by bit, the deer began to lift its head. Once it could finally move again, it ran straight into the fields. The rescue didn't take long, but for the deer, it made all the difference in the freezing cold. Just a quiet, powerful moment of kindness. Sky spikes.
It looks otherworldly, these kind of towers of ice.
Way up in the mountains between Chile and Argentina, there's a wild sight that looks like it came from a sci-fi movie. Sharp ice spikes called penitentes stick out of the ground, shooting toward the sky like frozen blades. Some reach up to 10 feet tall, and they totally look like something from another planet. These crazy shapes form when strong sunlight and freezing air make the ice melt unevenly. What's left behind are these weird, pointy towers.
You know, what's fascinating, if you see these photographs of the penitente, you look at that and you think, this is otherworldly.
Some folks say they look like ancient stone statues or something built by aliens. Either way, it's proof that nature loves to get creative, and sometimes it gets really weird with it. Frozen Caveman. At Theodore Wirth Park in Golden Valley, visitors are stopping to stare at something unexpected. A caveman stuck in ice. But don't worry, it's not real. His name is Zoog Zoog, and he's an art piece made to look like a frozen Neanderthal. The sculpture is super detailed and was created after a lot of research about early humans. Zoog Zoog was part of an old art show, but now he's chilling in the middle of the park, frozen like a real ancient figure. People love taking photos with him, and it's quickly become a must-see. It's like the Ice Age dropped a visitor right into the modern world. Space rock. In the icy lands of Antarctica, a group of scientists found something incredible. A 17-pound meteorite just sitting in the snow.
Weighs nearly 17 pounds and could hold secrets about the beginning of our solar system.
It was discovered by Maria Valdez from the Field Museum in Chicago.
This is the first time that I've found one myself, and that, of course, makes it all the more exciting.
Even though it's about the size of a cantaloupe, this black space rock has huge importance. It's called an ordinary chondrite, one of the most common types of meteorites, and it helps scientists understand what space was like long ago. Antarctica's cold weather actually makes it easier to spot meteorites since the dark rocks pop out against the white snow. This rare find could reveal clues about how Earth and the solar system began. Viking Treasures. As glaciers melt in Norway's Jotunheimen Mountains, they are revealing something amazing. Viking artifacts that have been hidden for centuries. Archaeologists have found everything from a wool tunic dating back to 300 Common Era, yep, oldest known in Norway, to ancient skis that are over 1,300 years old. There were also leather shoes, arrowheads, and even a wooden walking stick with Viking runes carved into it. These discoveries prove that this icy region was once a busy route for travel and trade. But as the ice keeps melting, experts worry these precious items could be lost forever. It's a race against time to protect these rare pieces of Viking history. Icefish City. Way down under the Antarctic ice, scientists found something that left them speechless. A massive fish colony like nothing ever seen before. In the Weddell Sea, over 60 million Jonah's icefish were discovered nesting near the Filchner ice shelf. Each fish guards its own little nest, with up to 2,500 eggs inside, totaling more than 100 million eggs across the area. The whole thing covers around 93 square miles. This hidden world was spotted using a special camera dropped deep into the ocean by a German research ship. These fish have figured out how to survive in freezing water, and now scientists want to learn how that affects the rest of the ocean's life. Fire and ice.
There is hot magma right pretty much beneath our feet.
On the frozen coast of Antarctica, there's a mountain that's full of surprises. Mount Arabus. It stands 12,448 feet tall and is home to one of the only lava lakes in the world that never stops bubbling, while the ice around it is brutally cold, like minus 30 Fahrenheit. This volcano just keeps on going.
Whoa, there it is.
Scientists hike through the snow and freezing winds to study it up close. Each puff of smoke and rumble from below gives them clues about how Earth's deep inner forces work. Mount Arabus isn't just a frozen volcano. It's like a glowing reminder that the planet is still alive underneath all that ice. Yeti Crabs. Deep below the ocean near Antarctica, scientists found massive swarms of ghost white Yeti crabs, living in total darkness. These weird hairy creatures hang out over 2,600 meters underwater, where sunlight can't reach. But they've got a wild trick to survive. They grow bacteria on their own bodies. Seriously, these crabs farm the bacteria, which feed on sulfur from underwater vents. Then the crabs use those bacteria as their food source. It's like carrying around your own snack supply. In one of the toughest, coldest places on Earth, these little guys are out here thriving, proving life always finds a way, even in the weirdest places. Spinning ice. In 2019, something totally hypnotic showed up on a river in Westbrook, Maine. A massive, spinning ice disk. This frozen circle was nearly 300 feet across and slowly twirled in the middle of the Presumpscot River like some kind of giant icy record. People came from everywhere just to watch it spin. So, how did it form? A mix of the river's flow, chilly temps, and swirling currents shaped the ice into a near-perfect circle. It looked too smooth to be real. While other ice disks have popped up in places like Sweden and Idaho, the main one stole the spotlight. Just another reminder that nature always has something cool up its sleeve. Mysterious hole. A research team thought they found just a simple hole in the snow, until black liquid started leaking out. And then came the smell. This wasn't water. It was raw oil, oozing straight from the earth in the middle of nowhere. Nobody expected it. No machinery, no pipeline, just oil, chilling under the snow like it had been waiting. Is it a natural leak or a deeper crack in the planet's crust? Nobody had answers, just a haunting reminder the ground beneath us hides more than we think. Frozen hand.
It's not a glove. It's a very creepy hand, I think.
Something massive stuck out of the snow. Big, stiff, and shaped like a hand. An actual hand. But not human. Not normal. It was giant, heavy, and completely frozen. No one was found nearby, and there were no tracks either. Just that creepy hand resting on the ice like it had been sliced out of time. Explorers who found it had no idea what creature it could belong to or how it ended up there. It didn't look fake. It didn't feel fake. The longer they stared, the weirder it felt. Nature doesn't usually make things like this, or does it? Frozen predator.
There were a lot of specimens that were notable, but one that sticks out is the wolf head.
While searching for ancient mammoth tusks in a remote icy stretch of Siberia, a group of hunters uncovered something they never expected. An Ice Age wolf head, frozen in near-perfect condition. Its fur was still thick and matted, its teeth sharp, and its lifeless eyes hauntingly intact, staring out from beneath layers of permafrost.
The wolf head was beautifully preserved. Even the little bump to its lip was just there as it would be in the live animal.
It looked like it had just fallen asleep in the cold. Scientists believe this creature roamed the earth more than 30,000 years ago, yet its face had barely aged. There was no body, just the head, preserved like nature's time capsule. How it stayed so untouched is still a mystery, but one thing's for sure. This predator's frozen stare is a direct look into a world long gone, and it's got experts wondering what else the ice might be hiding. Icy Bloom. At Sarum Lake in China, winter doesn't just freeze the water. It turns it into an art gallery. When the temperature drops to just the right point, the lake transforms into a surreal field of frost flowers. These aren't your typical ice crystals. They form straight from the air, pulling moisture out of the atmosphere and blooming on the lake's frozen surface like tiny frozen flowers. Each one can grow a few centimeters tall, with thin, spiky petals that look like nature dipped them in glitter. It's silent, untouched, and breathtaking, like walking through a secret world made of snowflakes. But this stunning event only happens under rare conditions, and it disappears just as fast. Blink, and you'll miss nature's frozen masterpiece. Ice giant moves. A23A isn't just a big iceberg. It's a floating city of ice, and it just slammed into the headlines. Stretching over almost 1,400 square miles, this frozen giant broke off Antarctica back in 1986. But it didn't go far. Until now. After drifting for decades like a sleepy monster in the sea, it finally grounded near South Georgia Island. The size? About 3 times bigger than New York City. But it's not just the size that's freaking people out. It's the danger. The iceberg is blocking key feeding grounds used by seals and penguins, putting entire colonies at risk. If the wildlife can't adapt fast enough, it could change the local ecosystem forever. A23A may be slow, but its impact could hit hard. Mysterious ice face.
What the heck is that thing?
Deep in the wilderness, one man was exploring alone when he noticed something strange poking out of the ice. At first, it looked like part of a rock, or maybe a chunk of old ice. But as he chipped away layer by layer, a shape began to appear, and then the shock hit him. It was a face. Pale, still, and almost too human. The eyes were wide open, the mouth hung slightly ajar. It looked like someone or something had been frozen mid-scream. The skin looked waxy but real, like it had been frozen seconds ago instead of centuries. There were no signs of clothing, no clues around it, just that eerie, lifelike face buried in ice. He backed away, unsure if he had just discovered a historical treasure or something better left untouched. And now, let's move on to our freezing but gigantic subscribers pick. This footage might just break your brain. A massive ice wall, so tall and endless that a whole civilization could be found here. And that's exactly what an American naval officer believed. Captured by an explorer, the video shows a towering wall of ice stretching for miles across barren land. What's wild is how it matches up with the flat Earth theory. A disc-shaped world, with this ice wall acting like the edge that holds our oceans in, like the rim of a bowl. But this isn't the first time someone saw something strange in the icy unknown. Back in the 1940s and 50s, Admiral Richard E. Byrd, a respected American naval officer, led Operation High Jump and other missions to Antarctica. He reported finding a land beyond the South Pole, as big as the United States. That wasn't just ice, but seemed strangely habitable. Warm areas, mountains, maybe even life. So now, with this new video showing a massive ice wall, people are asking, was Byrd trying to tell us something all along? What else is hidden behind that wall? And why have we never been told?